Impact's best swingman, Johnny Swinger here, with a cheap plug for Going In Raw with Steve and Larson. They're a couple of ham and eggers, never had a Rizat, afraid of Pizzills, drink Ovaltine with Tony Schiavone. They're banned from Swinger's Palace, but they got bills to pay. So tune in to each and every episode. Do it for the Larson family. Do it for the swingman. My family can fend for themselves, Daddy.
Hey, friendo, Steve here, and Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Again, I want to give a shout out and a thanks to number one, the Enforcer, for hanging out with us tomorrow. Yes. He put up a good fight. I told him, I think you were away from the camera at the time when I told him this, but man, ever since he ever since he started fighting for the Trios title, it's added a whole new dimension to these matches that we sit down and watch. They seem to be much more thrilling with the third man brother in on the action with his manic picks. It's a blast having him on the show for the pay-per-views. So shout out to the Enforcer and the Friendos. Thanks for bearing with us. Unfortunately, the stream died before you could get our reactions to the fizzle at the end of Revolution last night. I was able to recover our reactions because Zoom continued to record our call. And so I put that up at our Twitter at Real Going In Raw. It's like a 30-second clip of our natural reactions to the fireworks there at the end of the show. Just real quick before we get into the news, we've both had a night to sleep on it. Any more thoughts on what we saw last night? The fireworks?
I don't think anything major. I think we are both of the agreement that yes, the end underwhelmed, whether that was the intentional or there was some issue with the pyro. But I think if there were some sort of issue, that would have been mentioned after the show.
Do you think that? I mean, do you have any reason to think that Tony Khan? Here's where I land on it. This is where and then I want to ask where you land on it. This is where I land on it. I don't think it was a pyro botch. I think they probably thought that the amount of pyro they had there at the end was just gonna look better, and when it didn't, they were just sort of stuck with what they got, and then they had to figure out, okay, how do we sort of talk our way out of this? Because I don't have any reason to doubt Tony Khan when he says it went as planned. And so it probably went as planned. It's just sometimes you put something in place expecting a certain result, and that result isn't quite what you figured it would be. And that's what it just ended up being. I really need to go back and watch Adam Paciotti's reaction to it, because everybody said that he damn near pissed himself laughing, because it was hilariously underwhelming. But I kind of just wonder if this is what was supposed to happen,
entirely possible,
given what they did, and they just didn't realize that it was going to be so underwhelming. That's the only thing I can come up with. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. You would think something like this, that is supposed to be a pretty significant story beat, with Eddie covering up Mox and then acting like, the shockwave of the blast, knocked him out or whatever, because that's what commentary that was selling. That's what Eddie was selling. That not that you necessarily test that moment in the ring, you test your pyro in advance to make sure you get your camera placement right. Because like they went to the A cam for the explosion. And so you see a couple poofs and the sparklers and the stuff on the rope. But if they brought that camera lower, like right by the barricade, so you're looking up at the ring and those two platforms blow up, and you just get an explosion right in front of camera, and you're covering up the ring in the process of doing so, then you at least get the effect of, whoa, something happened just based on your proximity from camera to those explosives.
Okay, so
that's just what I thought. But.
So okay, now I didn't hear this, but probably should have listened to Wrestling Observer Radio. But R. Lopez Ortiz is saying that Meltzer reported it was a botched pyro, but they're playing it in storyline like Kenny built a dud. So according to Mr. Ortiz here, Meltzer's saying that it was in fact botched pyro. I guess there you go.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if that's the case, there's, that's live TV. Sometimes these things happen. Tony Khan, for the most part, is pretty transparent about what's going on within his company. So if it was an issue with Pyro, I kind of would have expected him to a degree to mention it, but maybe at the same time, in the moment he thought, okay, based on what Mox said, based on what Kenny's crude little drawing, we can kayfabe it this way and run with this on Dynamite without having really get into the nitty gritty talking about, issues with the Pyro. And if that's the direction they go, so be it. As long as they make an attempt to explain it on Dynamite on Wednesday, they don't have to spend 10 minutes on it. Just make some reference to it. Explain why Eddie was knocked out. Maybe, he was overwhelmed with emotion or something like that, and just didn't know what to do. Who knows? But just take a few minutes, try to explain it, and then just move on.
This is a good point too. I mean, in terms of testing stuff, Muted Mayday says that does anyone know how much Pyro costs? Maybe they couldn't do a test. That's my assumption. That's actually my assumption.
Entirely possible.
You get one shot at this because you're paying a ton of money. Why would you test it?
Entirely possible.
Your point about the camera is an excellent one, though. Why wouldn't you just put the camera down lower? Again, maybe they just expect. Maybe it didn't need to be. Maybe showing the full shot would have been impressive had the Pyro did what it was supposed to do.
Totally.
So I don't know. I know it's a silly thing to quibble over, in my opinion. I don't want the pay-per-view to be remembered exclusively for that.
No, because there is so much other really good stuff. The story beats leading up to that with Eddie coming out and covering up Mox is great stuff.
It's great.
And it opens up so much great stuff to possibly happen in the future. And I don't want it bums me out for potential some really awesome stories to be told in the future with those two guys and have it be marred or stained because the Pyro didn't go as expected. I don't know. I just feel like on a macro level, I just want to appreciate the possibilities that could spring from this rather than just get upset about, not enough things going boom. That's just me personally. Everybody else can have a different reaction to it, and that's their reaction. I'm not going to say they're wrong. I'm just speaking for me personally. I just rather focus on what I really enjoyed about that match and that show rather than the Pyro not going off as intended. That's just me, though.
I get the feeling that coming up on Dynamite, what you said is exactly what's going to happen. I think if anybody can promo their way into, you're quantum leaping there for a bit. If anybody can promo their way into making lemonade out of some lemons here, it's Eddie Kingston.
You put a mic in Eddie's hands and let him talk. Have Mox come out too.
He'll convince you of anything.
Yeah,
he'll convince you that what we saw was a scene out of I don't know what's a Vietnam movie. What's that one with Brando? Where he's crazy.
Apocalypse Now.
That one.
Apocalypse Now. Did you? I asked you this before we got started. I don't remember what you said. Oh gosh, there was a video going around Twitter last night today of an FMW. I think I saw Anita in the ring, where there was an explosion. The timer ran out.
Was it me showing Lacey a death match?
I don't know, but no, it wasn't that. And it was like a fireball engulfs the ring, basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think they can do that.
No, Tony Khan even said that during this, I think in the interview or the scrum or something. I read that quote where he's like, yeah, we can't do, there's codes and we're a proper company. And yeah, you can't, dude, look up any FMW death match back in the day. That's dangerous. You can't do that. That's people would be killing them if they were like, oh yeah, they engulfed it in flames. They had 1,500 people there. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. But I don't know. Maybe there was something bigger planned.
There's a way either visually, whether it's how they film it, to get across the point that there has been a huge detonation without actually doing the huge detonation. It's possible to do. Yeah. But you can't have a fireball engulf the ring at Daly's place. No way.
Yeah.
And that's not me making excuses for what we saw last night. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just thinking if you look at it objectively, you couldn't do that in that space.
I just think it's funny because somebody here is saying just don't book the match. I disagree with that. I think that maybe the 30 minutes and then the ring explodes bit, that might have been a bit ill-conceived because then you are immediately raising expectations and maybe you could have the exact same Kingston beat, But instead of it being the thing blowing up, it's like Kenny's about to execute some big spot on Mox, and Kingston basically takes.
I thought another way they could have gone about it is this, because they said after the 30 minutes, all the explosives around the ring would go off, and what we saw were those platforms ringside, that one that Mox Paradigm Shift Kenny threw. I think there was 3 or 4 more ringside. And then obviously the ones around on the ropes.
Yeah.
So what I thought is, what if instead of handcuffing Mox in the middle of the ring, they put him down on one of those platforms on the floor?
Oh, yeah.
Handcuff him to that or something.
Yeah.
And then you have Eddie, they're trying to free him from that, somehow, shielding Mox from the detonation there. Then you don't worry about the huge explosion that people are maybe expecting. It's all very focused on that one particular spot.
Yeah, whatever. AEW is really good at like sort of, just moving on.
Yeah,
like
it was underwhelming. It's it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I don't feel like personally I wanted to tarnish the rest of the show, because I thought there's a lot of really good stuff to enjoy about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, let's before we get into a little bit more AEW Revolution stuff, let's talk about their competition, the upstart WWE.
Yes.
Who's moving their own WWE network to Peacock. This is kind of an interesting side note to this Peacock move, in that it's not this integration, this migration rather, from one platform to another is not going to be as beefy and smooth as you'd think it would be.
I don't think there's going to be any migration based on this. So let's get into this. But then again, you know what? I went back and read the original press release, unless there was some subsequent details that I didn't catch up on in between that initial press release and this one. I don't believe in the initial press release it promised a full migration. It said subscribers would be notified of how to transfer their accounts or something like that. So anyways, WWE confirmed today that network content will be made available on Peacock app beginning March 18th, with the standalone network, at least here in the States, folding on April 4th. But if you thought your network account was going to get migrated to Peacock, think again. WWE mentioned in their press release the following, quote, "When WWE sunsets the existing standalone WWE Network app on April 4th, Peacock will be the exclusive streaming home to WWE Network in the U.S. To continue streaming WWE Network content, fans will need to sign up for Peacock. As previously announced, WWE Network, including all pay-per-views, will be available on Peacock Premium for $4.99. Starting today, Peacock is also offering WWE Universe deeper savings for a limited time. Details available, peacocktv.com/WB. And also, the entire network library won't be available on April 4th, as WWE notes that, quote, Peacock will continually add WWE Network content to the library, making the entire WWE Network archive, including every WWE, WCW, ECW pay-per-view event in history, available to stream on demand before SummerSlam.
So that's the interesting thing that stood out to me. When I said migrate, I didn't mean the accounts. I meant the library.
Gotcha.
Because there's going to be a window of time between April 4th and
SummerSlam.
Or I'm sorry, between March 18th and SummerSlam, so late August, where they will be migrating they're transferring the library, the network archive, which to me is like, I mean, I know the pay-per-views are a big selling point, but God, I love that archive is amazing.
Yeah. Bringing
that over to Peacock. I mean, there are so many, and I mean, it says here, Peacock will continually add WWE Network content to the library, making the entire WWE Network archive. And I hope they do actually stick to entire and don't pick and choose certain things to not include. Because there are hidden gems section. All that stuff is like totally worth the price.
Yeah. So I'll read this since I mentioned this. This is from the original press release about the merger, if you will, the network into the Peacock app. Quote, the companies will share details on managing customer accounts closer to the Peacock launch in March.
Okay.
So
yeah.
You would think migrating accounts over would be the smoothest thing from a consumer standpoint.
Absolutely. And this is interesting in that getting people to go from one service to another will demand them to rethink whether or not they want to do it. It's going to be a real test of how many of these subs know that they're getting charged and that they still have the WWE network. How many of them are actively interested in keeping the network? I hope it's a big amount. For the sake of our business, I want the WWE to be a healthy business.
Yes.
But I'll just say this. And Peacock we probably won't know the number of subscribers. I don't know how much of that info they are required to make public or not. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know.
I don't know any of that stuff. But yeah, that is kind of interesting that, and somebody here mentioned that it's probably because they've got international. It's not happening for international accounts.
Yeah. That could be a possibility. That could be. So, yeah. I mean, it looks like it'll go on Peacock and if you're a Comcast Xfinity customer, you already do have a Peacock account.
I mean, I wonder if there's even a way for them to tell. I mean, given that this is just going to be Peacock signups and not like, there's not like people are going to be like, oh yeah, I'm coming here. Here, let me click on this. It says I used to be a WWE Network subscriber, and now I'm heading over to Peacock for this. I mean, Peacock's a giant operation. They're going to have a huge, new platform to be advertising WWE content on there. But I don't know. It was just kind of interesting to me that this is, I don't know. It feels clunky, but
it does. But
I guess there's reasons for that.
Yeah, you'd think so. The technology involved in having this huge, even 1.5 million subs for the network is a significant number, and needing to migrate even 65% of those. I don't know if the infrastructure is in place to say, okay, we only want to migrate customers from the United States. I just don't know if that's possible. Don't know.
Seemingly not. I mean, you think they'd do that otherwise. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see sort of this new Peacock version of the network. Is it still going to be, Jeff Jarrett in singles action on WCW Nitro, when we all know singles action is a euphemism for Chris Benoit? Are they going to leave certain things out, more things that are more controversial? Are they going to pick and choose from, Raw episodes? Okay, well, this one had, too much boob in it. I mean, it's Peacock. I imagine they've got rated R movies all over.
Yeah,
the place.
they got all the Universal movies are on there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
well, all of them, but Universal.
Well, yeah, no, I'm sure there's probably plenty of boobs on Peacock.
Yeah.
But you never know. Things get weird sometimes.
They do with standards and practices with stuff that was TV. I don't know if like the rating system for streaming stuff, how that differentiates from TV. I just don't know. So you never know. Yeah.
It might end up being a better product. I mean, Alex C here mentions, are they going to timestamp pay-per-views with match starts like the network does? It's a great feature when they have, the stuff that's like, the match starts here and go jump to
this.
One
thing I noticed, and maybe it's just on my Fire TV, because I haven't noticed it on any other platform, is when I was watching SummerSlam, I'll just go down to continue watching. And there it is. I press it, and it always starts at the beginning on my Fire TV. Always start over. And thankfully, I can go down and select the match I left off on and continue watching from there.
Oh, your continue watching doesn't work?
Not on my Fire TV, no.
Sometimes it does. Like, I noticed that with when I was watching, because I finished up SummerSlam 98 today. That's going to be our next going in review. And I did notice today that it started at the beginning, but traditionally it had actually worked properly. Like,
it's usually been pretty good, yeah. Usually been pretty good.
Who knows?
All right. Speaking of someone who's pretty good, Hall of Fame worthy Christian, of course, he made his AEW debut last night at Revolution, and during his post-Revolution media scrum, Tony Khan provided some details on Christian's arrival in All Elite Wrestling. Steve, you want to take this quote here?
Sure. Said this. Tony Khan said, "I met Christian Cage 7 years ago, and he's a great person, and I've always really liked him as a person. But long before that, I've been a huge fan of him as a wrestler. I think he's one of the great wrestlers the last couple decades. He's had great matches in different companies. He's been a great singles wrestler, a great tag champion, and I think he's one of the best minds in wrestling. He's in great physical condition, and we saw him very recently compete on pay-per-view. Royal Rumble. There was a lot of interest in it. It generated a lot of interest, and he was interested in wrestling on a regular basis. And, he gave me a call and said, I'd really like to come wrestle in AEW for you. And I said, I'd really like to have you come and wrestle for me. It all came together great, and I think it's going to be really good." Khan also noted that he's got some more surprises in store for the year, adding, and again, these transcripts come to you from our friends over at Fightful, I would be remiss if I didn't leave the scrum without promising everyone this. In this year, 2021, I promise you, I'm going to have some aces up my sleeve. You're going to see some cool stuff. You're going to see some stuff you didn't expect to see. This is the beginning. I promise it's going to be a great year for AEW. Ooh, some aces up his sleeve.
Go
aces
ace.
and eights. Oh,
I was thinking Tanahashi.
What if Tanahashi joined the aces and it's just ace and eights?
There you go. Aces and ace.
Yeah, aces and ace. That's good.
That'd be great. Be wonderful.
So what do you expect to see from AEW? What's up his sleeve?
Well, I mean, it's sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I asked you the question, and I started answering.
Assuming that we return to some semblance of normalcy in the latter half of this year, I'd assume that we'd get more AEW New Japan crossover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would be my hope.
Yeah. All Out. September. Daniel Bryan. Sami Zayn.
Nakamura.
CM Punk. And CM Punk. Those three names are going to be wrestling in AEW by the end of the year.
All right.
That's going to happen because both Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan's contracts are up, I think, in the fall, early fall, something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think Daniel Bryan's is up early September.
Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, CM Punk. Nakamura in AEW. Is Nakamura's contract up?
I think so. I could be wrong, though.
Maybe Nakamura. Yeah. I could see that. Totally.
Sami
Zayn's doing amazing work right now. I don't know, man. WWE's letting him do everything he wants to do, and they're letting him do the
documentary.
The documentary. I was going to say the charity stuff for Syria.
Oh yeah.
Which is, I think, probably the most important thing he has going right now for good reason. So I would actually be maybe kind of surprised, given that he is doing amazing work right now. But maybe, I don't know, maybe in his head he's like, to work for this damn company, I do have to compromise a little bit,
You can't be doing brain busters on turnbuckles, so.
Well, yeah, exactly. That there's that too. I was thinking ethical implications, but move wise, you're totally right. I really want to do a brainbuster on a turnbuckle.
Can't do that here.
I don't know what's more important.
Let's talk New Japan Cup. Do a brief little recap here. A couple upsets in the first round. Of course, Evil. He got a first round bye because he won last year. Let's do a quick rundown here. Jeff Cobb defeated Kojima. Great Khan defeated Tetsuya Naito.
Okay, stop there. Do we know how that happened?
I heard it was a good match.
Was there Empire Today interference in that?
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't really know.
All right, I was looking
at all this stuff.
If anybody in chat, so I watched a handful of these. I watched Kenta beat Juice Robinson. I started to watch Shingo versus Okada. Man, Shingo matches always hurt to watch.
Well, Okada's got a bad back now too.
Yeah, Suzuki versus Hanma. Oh boy, that hurt to watch. Anything with Hanma these days, because of his neck, he moves really stiff. Yano versus Bad Luck Fale was pretty funny. But if anybody in chat saw Great Khan versus Naito, how the hell did that finish? Naito was in a reverse figure 4 and the ref stopped it. Khan went after Naito's knees and it was a ref stoppage.
He's got the bad knees.
Okay, all right.
That's long-term storytelling there because they've been talking about Naito's bad knees forever. So Yano defeated Bad Luck Fale. Hiroki Goto defeated Taichi. Suzuki defeated Hanma. Kenta defeated Juice Robinson. Shingo Takagi defeated Okada. Again, Okada, I think as Meltzer said, he has a couple of bad discs in his lower back.
Oh, that's got to hurt.
Yeah. Ospreay defeated Tenzan. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Gabriel Kidd. Tsuji. Oh, these are ones coming up. You got Tsuji and Yuji Nagata. Ishii versus Sonata. Finley versus the Crown Jewel Chase Owens. Yoshihashi versus Yujiro Takahashi. Hinare versus Jay White. And then also Go Ace Hiroshi Tanahashi. He has a first round bye. Here's some second round matchups that are locked in. Evil versus Jeff Cobb. Great Khan versus Yano. Goto versus Takagi. That'll be good. Suzuki versus Kenta. That'll be good. Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. That'll be really good.
That'll be awesome. That'll be absolutely fantastic. So that's happening 3 on the 14th. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Will Ospreay. So so on the 14th it's going to be Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. and what is this? Sonata versus Ishii. That's happening tonight, and Nagata versus Tsuji is happening tonight. Tomorrow night is Finlay and Chase Owens.
And then Yoshihashi, Takahashi, and Hinare versus Jay White. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's on to the second round.
So the second round. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm trying to see. Let's see here. Let's do these picks really quick, dude.
All right.
Suzuki versus Kenta. Who you got, Larson?
Probably gonna be Kenta.
Probably gonna be Kenta. Then we've got Shingo versus Goto.
It should be Shingo.
So that would lead to Shingo versus Kenta.
Man, how great would it be if Shingo won this thing?
That'd be awesome. Give me a Shingo versus Evil semifinal.
Yeah.
Because they've got to let Evil go to the semis, right?
You'd think so.
There's nobody overwhelming here. They all got taken out. Evil versus Shingo in the semifinals.
That would seem to be the case.
Then on the other side, it's too early to tell. All those first round matches, not really a lot going on there. Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. That
could go either way.
God damn, that's gonna be a good match.
It'll be good. That can go either way.
God damn.
That could go either way.
That could totally go either way. Zack Sabre Jr. is one of my favorite wrestlers, man.
Or we can get Ishii versus Jay White in the semifinals then, because they're in the midst of a feud.
Which could be Shingo versus Jay White in the finals.
That'd be pretty cool.
Ooh, I'd be down for that.
Pretty cool.
Who's got the title right now? That's right. It's
Kota Ibushi.
Man, nobody's taking that thing from Kota Ibushi anytime soon.
No. But him versus Shingo would be really good. Really good.
God, that'd be so good.
Really good.
Unless he's gonna set up that rematch. If Jay White and Shingo end up in the finals, and it's Jay White coming out of this thing, he's gonna lose again.
Who knows? Yeah, probably.
So sad. I'm blaming on somebody else again.
Let's talk Raw. 2 things have been announced. There's a Hurt Business celebration.
What is this shit here? Not that. That's gonna be great.
That's gonna be great.
What is this thing that you have bold and in giant text font here?
That's straight from WWE.com, man.
Braun Strowman is going to ask Shane McMahon for an apology. We don't think about what's happening today. We think about what's happening for the next 10 years for this company, what's best for business. You better start focusing on today, because that shit is not going to draw ratings. Braun Strowman asking Shane McMahon for an apology. They better not. You're busting that out for their preview. They better not be clowning AEW for that silly fireworks thing. If that's on your preview. Yeah. Braun Strowman ad. That's actually going to be hilarious, though. Shane McMahon just like,
your apology sucks.
Yeah. And he's like, listen, baked potato face. Your dad's baked potato head. God dang it, that was so funny. Yeah, that's going to be an entertaining segment.
That could be. It'll be bad, but it'll be entertaining. All right, you want to answer some questions?
Yeah, we've got a thread up on the Twitter.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm going to give a shout out to this video I saw today. It's on the Friendoville channel. If you guys aren't aware what Friendoville is, there's this awesome dude on there.
Steve's channel.
It's my channel. This is a great guy on there.
And
he shows his wife, Terry Funk versus Mr. Pogo death match from FMW. And you got to wait till the end to see it, man. I had to sleep on the couch last night, dude. Which I actually did. That's not really a punishment for me. I love sleeping on the couch. I got the comfiest couch. It is so comfy. But yeah, check that out. It's great.
All right, first question here from B-Man Patrick Sparks. What would you like to see Kenny do next? Who challenges him for the title, and how is that opportunity gotten? A tournament? A call-out? I think it's a little too soon to do another tournament since I just did one that ended in December.
They love their tournaments, man.
Which is great. I love tournaments too.
Yeah, man.
Have another brass ring ladder match or something like that.
All right, this is a good question though.
Oh, no, it'll be at he'll have a feud going into Double or Nothing. They'll do another Battle Royal at Double or Nothing, and you get a title shot if you win that.
Another thing. Wait, a what? A Double or Nothing? Double or Nothing's like
Battle Royal. I'm saying they'll set up another feud for Kenny between now and Double or Nothing. But at Double or Nothing, they'll have the Casino Battle Royal. Mm-hmm. Winner of that gets a title shot against
Here's what I say they should do.
All right.
Between now and then, Double or Nothing, that's good. It gives you the idea that there are big stakes on the line. And what bigger stakes on the line would there be? I'm not talking about food. Is this Forbidden Door stuff. Make that like, you add some Impact stuff to it maybe. Maybe you do an Impact thing.
Maybe.
Big stakes involved. Company versus company. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe.
I mean, Impact's got to get something in return for Tony Khan just talking shit about the company all the time.
You'd think so. Mr. Triple Mania, Juan Guerrero Jr., Kenny Omega has said he begrudgingly had to leave one side of the ring without barbed wire due to safety measures required by Tony Khan. A chance Kenny tries this again at AAA. Well, they'll probably let him do whatever he wants. Safety measures be damned.
I get the feeling that AAA they wouldn't let him do whatever he wants. I think AAA, they operate by AAA's rules. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, maybe this was enough to get that match last night was enough to get that out of Kenny's system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he didn't get obviously not the full FMW exploding barbed wire death match experience. We saw that obviously by the end of the bout. Nonetheless, you got what, 80%? 80%? That's still pretty good.
Oh, I'd say 50 at most. Those death matches were absolutely...
Yeah, they were rough.
They were rough. I mean, not like last night wasn't, but dude, by their standards, by early 90s, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, by today's standards, by nationally televised wrestling standards, that was a rough match.
It was a rough match, sure.
So compared to FMW, where half the time matches seemingly, I mean, not half the time, that might not be fair. A lot of the time, matches would get so out of control, they just had to stop it or cut them short.
Yeah, I think I think your 50% assertion might be correct. I think it was like probably half the time. Hey, let's do this crazy shit. Oh, we went too far. Like 3 minutes into the match, we have to stop this now.
All right, we gotta put an end to this. Yeah. So I mean, especially when you're on pay-per-view, you got a cable broadcast home. You can't go all out and advertise this crazy match happening, and the 3 minutes into it, you got to stop it because something got out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't do that stuff. I mean,
you got to make it as safe as possible.
It's very nice. You bring Onita in. Apparently they wanted to bring him in. In. You got him on video doing a Matt Chat question. Hey, this is a great match for you guys.
Oh, it's great.
They did a lot of blood. It was great, but come on now. Like, you don't want people, dude. That match where they just lit everything on fire. It's like they went out there and just decided to light everything on fire. You can't do that.
No, you can't do that. You can't have a huge fireball engulf the ring. You can't do that.
You just can't do that.
You can't do that.
This isn't Steve W.
No, you can't do that. Samuel Bronkowitz, power rank possible ways Eddie Kingston will be traumatized after last night. Sparklers, popping champagne bottles, etc.
That would be kind of funny, actually. That seems like more of a BTE thing than doing that.
Someone's lighting a cigarette and he gets all.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey,
what's your problem? A little bit of fire.
What's your problem?"
Will Combs, I still really enjoyed the finish last night. I think the story surrounding it was so perfect that I'm fine with it, even with the botch explosion. With that being said, whether FMW-style deathmatch stipulations would you like to see in AEW?
The only thing at this point, dude, is a floating barge. Or whatever that floating platform was. Mm-hmm. Do something on water, and I'm good with that.
Yeah.
And a sickle.
That might be a bit too far. Tim asks, how would you have ended the death match? Pyro falling into a pool of piranhas? Dismemberment? Well, dismemberment you can't do. That's too far.
I mean, the funny thing about the sickle is that, I mean, visually it's too far, but like...
Oh, that was all worked. Yeah, I know. At least I assume so. Yeah, I mean, like, I think if they had stuck with the pyro they had, but just framed it differently, like visually, they could have pulled it off. But then, if there was a botch, you can't account for that really. If it wasn't a botch and they thought what they had was sufficient visually to get across the point and it ended up not being, that's one of those things you learn along the way, I guess.
Jimmy Thomas, Kenny versus Pagano at Triple Mania, exploding barbed wire death match has got to happen. Man, I don't know. Maybe the people at AAA were like, oh, crap, our mega champion's doing that stuff? Pfft. Blue Demon Jr., bring him on in.
Bring out your hammer.
Get out your hammer. Hammer versus sickle match against Lenny Omega.
Anthony Matthews says, I could totally relate to the storyline of Apollo using his real voice. I and many other people of color have felt in the past that we had to use a professional voice in public and sound completely different at home. Then I got older and stopped giving a crap, just like Apollo.
That's cool. That's a great take on it. That's really awesome. I just hope they don't use that as a way to be like in character for like Big E to belittle him for that. I hope that it's more of like a, hey, dude, I see where you're coming from and I feel what you're saying. And I'm glad that you've been able to drop this facade that you have claimed to have been putting on, but I'm still going to whoop your ass because I gave you 3 shots. You know, you can bring your camo dudes to the ring all you want and your projectile weapons. That ain't going to change the fact that Big E wrecked you 3 times. And I guess I'm going to have to wreck you a 4th. I hope they take that approach with it and not, you know, hey, let's make fun of the situation because it's just that just buries it in the eyes of the fans.
Yeah, totally. Gareth, if the roles were reversed, would Moxley sacrifice himself to protect Eddie?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like to think so.
Yeah, I think they're cut from the same cloth. That's sort of the whole point of those guys.
Yeah, they had their beef, but I think there's some things that transcend their beef, and
there's an honor
their
among
core.
their
They're brothers, you know. They're brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, bro.
They may have their issues, but you know, at the end of the day, they're there for each other.
Brother Mike Goat asks, who do you see as the first opponent for Christian, and why do you think WWE didn't want to keep him?
The second part of the question is a bit of a head scratcher because if nothing else, they could have used him in some capacity to build up Edge Roman at WrestleMania. I
really appreciate that they didn't. Because
I do too, because that's a disservice to Christian.
It is. It is.
But if nothing else, you'd think we have him here. There's things we can do with him from a storyline perspective that would enhance things. If nothing else, have him wrestle Big E for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania because everybody wants to see
main
that.
Event. Has to be on main event.
Oh, sorry, on main event. At least do that. You know, there's things you think you just see what they have on the docket, possibilities they have before him, and you're like, there's at least 5 things you could think they could do with him, and maybe that was broached, and maybe he just wasn't interested. We don't know until he does his interview on Talk is Jericho. That's not advertised. I'm just expecting it to happen.
Oh, it's totally going to happen.
Probably. So maybe that, you know, there were pitches made to him and he just wasn't interested because he didn't want to be a secondary player, be used to get more heat on Roman in the story with Edge. And if he doesn't want to do that, more power to him, because I completely understand. But if it was a situation where WWE just like, hey, we'll bring you in for the Rumble, we'll give you a moment, and then we'll see what happens, and then nothing happened. You know, that's a head scratcher.
It's a head scratch. I'll put it this way. It is a head scratcher because generally they just snap up everybody and anything. Hey, you're in great shape. You're cleared. Okay, let's bring you in for whatever reason. And then they just end up sitting them or not doing anything with them. Or like you said, using him as a secondary character, as a bystander. And if they didn't, if they were like, hey, you know what? We brought him in for the Rumble. He had a good moment. We don't have anything meaty for him. So why bother sign him? If they actually came to that realization, I am impressed and encouraged that they would do that, because you don't want them to say, hey, let's just sign him. And yeah, we can find something for him to do, but really Edge is the guy. So it's going to be a secondary thing. And the spot that he takes, the thing that everybody complains about, the spot that he takes could be taken by somebody who is like an Andrade, for God's sakes, or somebody, or a repackaged Apollo who we've been begging to have in our. I'd rather have Apollo in his new iteration versus Big E at WrestleMania for the IC title. Toss Sami Zayn in there. That's not gonna happen. He's doing something else now. I'd rather have that than Christian versus Big E. You know, another guy who's 50 years old or whatever he is. You know, I'm glad that they're like, hey, this is a spot that could have gone to a younger guy.
And I guess we could also kind of maybe consider the opposite side of the thing is maybe Christian maybe saw the writing on the wall that maybe opportunities in WWE for him to wrestle the amount he wants to wrestle just wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Saw that AEW is this cool new thing where, you know, they have a tendency to utilize their legends better than WWE does for the most part.
Anybody his age
wanted to go there
should look at AEW and say they have a great mix of youth and veterans. The schedule, traditionally speaking, I mean, I know now things are different, but who knows? Like, you know, once fans are back, WWE might pick things back up.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised they do a limited house show schedule. I doubt they'll go back to the full.
Oh yeah, there seems to be no indication they're going to go back to how heavy it was. So I mean, that might be on par, you know, with AEW, because AEW is probably going to start doing house shows because Tony Khan has said that he wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But anybody that you know, like of Matt Hardy's age, Christian's age, whatever, should look at AEW and say, man, look at how they treat, you know, everybody. This is a place that I'd want to go. And on top of that, like Christian knows if he goes to WWE, he's going to be in Edge's shadow. He knows that. Go to AEW. I think it's great.
Yeah. The Wild Dude, this is an interesting question. The both of you are trapped in a haunted house for an entire night along with the Enforcer. What sort of spooky creature would you rather deal with amongst these? Ghosts, zombies, vampires, or werewolves? It's ghosts.
Ghosts.
It's ghosts.
Yeah.
Because by and large, ghosts can't do anything to harm you. I'm saying by and large. There's been possession. I understand all that. I'm reasonably well versed in hauntings and such. The other zombies, vampires, and werewolves, they're coming after you.
Yeah, dude.
They're coming after you.
Werewolves is like last on my list. They're part animal. They're faster, stronger, deadlier. Vampires, if we're dealing with like, you know, Nandor or Colin Robinson, I'm not terribly concerned. I mean, I know they still totally kill people, but I feel like they can be pretty easily, intelligently to not kill me. But
I'd rather take my chance with the ghosts because just because there's a ghost there doesn't mean it's you know, it's going to be haunting you and try to possess you and whatnot. You know?
Yeah, no,
it could be a friendly ghost for all you know.
It could be like one of my ancestors. You know. And then with the other thing, zombie. Fuck that. No. Even if you get a kill, how messed up is that? You got to stab somebody in the head. No good.
Anthony Tobias, Mania isn't Mania without a ladder match. Which title on either brand needs to be a ladder match this year, and who's involved? Thanks, friendos.
I would think the United States title, guys like Keith Lee, Riddle, AJ Styles. That's probably what I'd want to see.
You could also do the Intercontinental title. You got Biggie, you got Cruz, Zayn.
Yeah.
Maybe even Baron. Kind of either the mid-card titles I think would work. Nick, let's say Vince gives Triple H the green light to book his own FMW death match for NXT.
Oh, wow.
How overproduced would it be, and who would be the participants?
Oh, man. Death match. You know, maybe that's the kind. Oh, okay. I'll do this. I'll say Ciampa and Thatcher.
Okay.
Would be fun to see in a deathmatch situation. Gargano would be a lot of fun to see in a deathmatch situation. I mean, add some comedy in there with Cameron Grimes. And then
Ricky Scurvy says Karrion Kross. That's who I thought of as well.
And then, dude, you got to put. I would book like Candice versus like Shotzi in a death match. That'd be pretty sick.
That would be pretty cool.
They go all out sometimes. It's kind of great.
Blake Elizondo, which would last night's poor exploding ring more likely lead AEW to do? One, them trying it again to really deliver the explosion promise, cinematic or otherwise, or two, them never doing it again, anything like that ever again. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that I would say neither per se. I would think if they come to a situation where they think that kind of match would enhance the story they want to tell, they would consider it. Otherwise, I don't think they're going to try to do a make good, or give up on it entirely.
I agree completely.
Dalen Dula, recently you woke up to find steak sauce raining from the sky. The endless supply of sauce is great for your meats, but not as great for your roofing. Your shingles are compromised and will need to be replaced. What wrestler do you ask to help you install a sauce-proof roof?
Does it have to be WWE or any wrestler?
Any wrestler, I guess.
Adrian Neville, the man that Gravity, what is it, forgot about or something like that?
Yeah, forgot, yeah.
Because he's up there on the roof. You want somebody who's okay being up there on the roof.
I want someone
who busted shingles,
who may not know a whole lot about roofing, but knows a lot about steak sauce.
Mm-hmm.
You know what works best.
Oh yeah.
So you're talking Otis or you're talking Baron Corbin? Otis, blue collar, solid. Maybe he has some experience using heavy machinery. Roofing, I don't know. I'll go with Otis, and Baron can help him out. 2-man crew.
They're both kind of booked as dullards, though, so I don't know if I want them messing with my roof.
I mean, that's a fair point, but nonetheless.
It starts raining, and then like just water starts pouring down.
Well, here's the thing, too. It starts raining steak sauce, and they just do this. They try their best just to
seems like a short-term solution at best, though.
Oh, here we go. White Brownie just said, The Miz versus Bob Lashley for the WWE title is announced for tonight. Interesting.
And get that rematch out of the way.
Lord Ziffer, alternate reality. The ring actually. Remember at the McMahon shakeup where we were the boss and no more automatic rematches? Remember those days?
I remember that.
Lord Ziffer, alternate reality. The ring actually exploded last night, but Kenny and Mox were still in the ring. They are no longer with us. Wow.
That's dark.
That
really
is
dark.
AEW announces a tournament to crown the next champion. I don't know if they'd be really eager to do that right after.
It's the Mox Omega Memorial Tournament.
Yeah.
Show goes on.
Who are the finals and who wins the title? Hangman is not in the tournament.
Everybody dies.
That'd be a good pick.
Everybody dies.
Cody. That's the correct answer.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Cody.
This is interesting. So Anthony Matthews says in a 2020 interview, Christian said he wasn't WWE Hall of Fame simply because WWE never asked. The guy is a 6-time world champion between WWE, ECW, TNA, and 9-time tag champion. Is in one of the all-time great teams. It's ridiculous. Do you think this was motivation for the AEW move? Well, that and a ton of money. I mean, by WWE standards, he should be. He's a Hall of Famer. He is.
Yeah, dude. I think that, like I said, I just think that he's probably wise to the fact that a guy his age, of his status, they're going to be treated really well in AEW. Mm-hmm. And he might be treated really well in WWE. He might not. It's a toss-up. But you know you're going to be treated well in AEW, you know, and it's new and it's exciting and everybody's, you know, into it and stuff. They got like a owner seemingly with like a good head on his shoulders, you know. He's not a weirdo. So yeah, Alex C says the thing with Christian is that he always feels like, and Christian. Yeah, that's sort of how he came across him. But, I mean, you know, if you want to not be and Christian, you go to AEW and be just Christian Cage. And, you know, I don't expect him to be challenging for the world title or anything like that. Maybe he'll have a match. I don't know. But yeah, I think they'll find something cool for him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. I certainly hope so.
Yep. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Twitch chat, stick around for a little bit. We'll hang out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Join us tonight for our Monday night. On Monday afternoons, I always want to say, join us tomorrow for our Impact stream. But I can't forget about our Raw recap. That happens tonight, right after Monday Night Raw.
That albatross, it is Monday Night Raw.
Anyways, well, we got a new champion at least.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steven Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steven Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steven Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson.